Hi, it's Wednesday, so we're baking. Today we're gonna make one of my favorite recipes, caramel popcorn. And because it's almost October, we're gonna add some pumpkin pie spice. If you're making it any other time of year, or if you just don't like those seasonings, you can just omit them. But either way, we're always gonna start with a large roasting pan. If you don't have a large rectangular, if you have like the oval with the taller sides, that's fine too. And you want to coat the entire inside of the pan with cooking spray. So we've got our roasting pan coated with cooking spray. We're going to pop the popcorn directly into the pan with an air popper. Highly recommend getting one of these, perfect for making snacks. And of course caramel popcorn. We use a total of 1 cup of kernels. We pop a half a cup at a time. So I'm going to pour half of this into my air popper and get the popcorn started. To make your caramel, you're going to start with a tall saucepan. You really need room for the sugar to bubble up and rise, and it will. So we're going to put that on medium-high heat, and you're going to use a whole cup or 2 sticks of unsalted butter. Start by putting that in the pot. The butter is going to start to melt right away, and that's when you add your brown sugar. It's almost always packed in the recipes, and rather than packing and working through with a measuring cup, I use a scale. A half a cup of packed brown sugar is 122 grams. So we need 2 cups, that would be 488 grams of brown sugar. If you just set your bowl on the scale and measure it out, then you don't have to worry about the measuring cup. So we're gonna add that to our pan. Next, you're going to add your salt, your corn syrup, and your pumpkin pie spice mix. You can use a pumpkin pie spice mix that comes pre-made in a jar, but I don't recommend it because then you're not able to adapt the flavor to your liking. I make mine without ginger because that's how I prefer it. So this is 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground clove. Once you've added everything to the pot, you're going to stir it continuously until it starts to boil. Once it starts to boil, you're going to leave it alone unstirred for 5 minutes. These silicone Spurtles are rated for 600 degrees Fahrenheit, so you don't have to worry about them melting. And it's really nice compared to a wooden spatula or spoon. The caramel doesn't really stick to it, which is nice. So you can see it's really starting to boil now. We're going to leave that be and turn down our heat to low so that it doesn't overcook. 5 minutes on the timer. So our caramel is almost done. As soon as that beeper goes off, we're going to add the next ingredients. We're going to add our baking soda and our vanilla. That's a teaspoon of vanilla and a half a teaspoon of baking soda. The caramel is nice and foamy and light colored. Now we're going to pour it over our popcorn And this is the only sort of labor of love involved with this recipe. I stir it in really, really well so that each piece is nice and coated. We'll add a little more caramel. With your burner turned off, if you keep the caramel pot on that warm burner, it'll stay nice and soft and pourable while you mix this in. If you use your nice long Spurtle paddle, you can get every last drop of caramel out of your pan. And it's a really nice tool for stirring. My rule of thumb is that if I hear crunching, then that's popcorn that isn't coated in caramel yet. So I keep going until I don't hear crunching as I stir, and then I know everything is nice and coated. Our popcorn is going to go in the oven at 250 degrees for an hour, and we're going to use our Spurtle every 15 minutes to give it a good stir. Our popcorn is done. It's been in the oven for an hour. It's nice and crispy. It just needs to cool now. So to cool, we're going to spread it on baking sheets. You really need 2 in order to get it spread out enough that can all cool quickly. You want it to cool as quickly as possible because you don't want any humidity to get to this popcorn, especially if you're making it in the summertime. Just let it cool for a few minutes until you can safely transfer it, say to like a Ziploc baggie or something like that without causing the baggie to melt.